Hello, my dear students. Myself, Dr. Pitambar Humne, founder Botany for You and working as Associate Professor and Head Department of Botany, Dharampet MP Dev Memorial Science College, Nagpur, Maharashtra, India. I welcome you all in this online platform for the students of Life Sciences Botany for You. Friends, if you are new or not yet subscribed our YouTube channel, then kindly like, share and subscribe our YouTube channel Botany for You. And also press bell icon for the alerts of different lectures to be uploaded on different life sciences titles. Now, in this lecture series in plant physiology, today we are taking the 7th lecture, that is absorption of water. Again, after completion of 2 to 3 lectures, we will organize MCQ type of the lecture on the same topics. So, let's see the today's topic, that is absorption of water. If you have not yet watched earlier lectures based on diffusion, osmosis, DPD, then water potential, then go through that lecture first so that you can easily understand the absorption of water and even the absorption of mineral or ascent of sap. So, let's see today's topic, that is absorption of water. In lower classes, we have seen already that the higher plants are classified into the different parts, that is the root, stem and leaves, and even the different parts of the body, that is root, then stem and leaves, these are responsible to carry out different functions. That the leaves are responsible for the exchange of gases and also for the process of photosynthesis. Even the stem which is green or the leaves are reduced, in such cases stem is also responsible to carry out the photosynthesis. But basically the stem is modified for the translocation of water as well as the organic food material, and the roots are responsible for the absorption of water, absorption of minerals and to anchor the plant body in the soil, and hence such type of the plant body is very well adapted for the terrestrial habit. When we are talking about the function of the root which is responsible to carry out the three different type of the functions, that is the absorption of water, absorption of mineral and to anchor the plant body in the soil. So, our today's topic, that is the absorption of water. These roots which are present, if you see the structure of this root, then basically this is carried out into the different regions. It is classified into different regions, that is the root cap which is present at the tip of the root. Then there is a presence of the meristematic region, in which there is a continuous division of the cell, because whenever we are talking about the meristems, then meristems are the tissues or the aggregation of the cells which has the independent power of the division. So, these are the cells of the root which are continuously divide and redivide to elongate the roots. Then there is a presence of the zone of the elongation after the formation of the cells in the meristematic region. There is elongation of those roots or the elongation of the cells which are responsible to increase the length of the root. Later on, there is a presence of root hair zone. So, this root hair zone which is present just below or behind the zone of the elongation, that is mainly responsible for the absorption of the water, because this root hair zone bear these different root hairs, and basically the root hair are responsible for the absorption of the water and not the complete root. And later on there is a presence of the maturation zone, means here after the some time the older root hairs are died, and again there is a development of the new root hairs. And because of this, say for example, if we have to consider that this is the root and here there are the presence of the root hairs. So later on this will convert into the maturation zone, and here there is an increase in the length of the root because of the activity of the meristematic cell. So here later on there is a development of the root hairs on the another part. So if this process will be continued in the growth or development of the plant body, automatically it will absorb the water from the different zones of the soil, and hence such type of the method of the absorption of the root by the root hairs help the plant body to absorb the water from different locations of the soil, and hence the plant can absorb the water from various locations when there is a growth of the roots and development of the new root hairs every time. So how these plants are absorbing the water from the soil, that we will see in today's lecture. Now if we see the absorption of the water by the root hair zones or the root hairs which are present on the root. So here we have taken the TS of the root hair zone. So we find that here the epidermis or the epiblema, which is responsible to form the certain elongated cells, and these different elongated cells that are known as the root hairs. So when these root hair cells come in contact with the soil water, basically the type of the water which is absorbed, and that is a capillary water. And if we see this capillary water, means the thin layer of the water which is present in between the soil particles. So this water is absorbed by the root hair. So when we have to see the osmotic pressure, that is the transport of solvent particles from the region of lower concentration to the region of higher concentration. So say for example, if there is a higher osmotic pressure of the root hair and the lower osmotic pressure of the soil, in such a cases automatically due to the osmosis there will be the entry of the water from soil to the root hairs. So when there will be the entry of the water inside the root hairs, the osmotic pressure will be decreased, so that in comparison to the other cells of the cortical regions, here the osmotic pressure of the cortical region will be higher, and hence the water from the root hairs will be again later on transported to the cells of the cortex, and in this way finally it reach the innermost membrane of the cortex known as the endodermis. Now this endodermis cell is provided with the certain Casparian strips on its radial as well as the tangential walls, and hence the Casparian strips do not allow the water to pass through it. But there are the certain cells which are present opposite to that of the xylem, and they are known as the passage cells. So these passage cells allow the water to enter through the endodermis into the pericycle, and from the pericycle finally the water reaches to the xylem vessels. So in this way, after the absorption of the water by the roots with the help of root hairs from the soil through the different osmotic gradient, it is transported to the xylem, and later on when water enter inside the xylem, then it is transported in a upward direction. So how this water is transported in a upward direction, that we will see in the next lecture, that is ascent of sap. Now whenever we are talking about the mechanism of the absorption of the water, actually the water is absorbed in a two different manner. The first one, that is the active absorption of water, and the second one is a passive absorption of water. Now why active and why passive? So when we have seen the absorption of the water, there is a transport of water from the soil to the root hair, from root hair to the cortex, then endodermis, then pericycle, and then xylem. So in such a cases, if there is an active participation of the root cells, then such a type of the absorption of water is known as the active absorption. And if there is no any role of the root in the absorption of water, then it is known as the passive absorption of the water. Again, the active absorption and the active absorption is classified into two types, that is osmotic absorption and second one non-osmotic absorption. So when we are talking about the transport of the solvent particles from the region of lower concentration to the region of higher concentration, it means that it is along the osmotic gradient. So if the water is absorbed along the osmotic gradient, then it is known as the osmotic absorption. Say for example, if we are talking about the root or the root hair, and this is a soil. So if the osmotic pressure of the soil is less and the osmotic pressure of the root or the root hair is high, then from lower concentration to the higher concentration, there will be the transport of the water. And this is a simple method of osmosis, and hence it is known as the along osmotic gradient. And if the water is absorbed along the osmotic gradient, then it is known as the osmotic absorption of the water. But if there is some reverse condition, if this is now the root and the root having the osmotic pressure which is lower and the soil particles having the osmotic pressure and that is the higher. So in such a cases, as per the osmosis, there should be the transport of the water from lower to the higher concentration, but this is not carried out because the water will not be transported from the root to the soil. Even in such a cases, here always the water will be absorbed by the root from the soil, though the soil contain the higher osmotic pressure or the concentration of the water will be the higher. So such a type of the absorption of the water is considered as against the osmotic gradient. And if the water is absorbed against the concentration gradient, that is here from higher concentration to the lower concentration, that is known as the osmotic non-osmotic absorption. So these different types are used in the absorption of the water. So we'll see first one, that is the active absorption of water, and then we will see the passive absorption of the water. In active absorption of water, as we have seen earlier, that the water which is present in the soil having the lower concentration. So these are the soil particles and having the low osmotic pressure, or we can say that the higher DPD. Here the lower DPD in the soil and the higher, that is high osmotic pressure or higher DPD in the root hair. in such cases, from the lower concentration to the higher concentration, the water will move from the soil to the root hair. And as we have seen or discussed earlier, from the root hair, when water will be absorbed, its osmotic pressure will be reduced, or we can say that its DPD will be reduced, or even the water potential will becomes less negative as compared to the water potential of the cortical cells. So, in such cases, if the osmotic pressure of cortical cells is high, or DPD is high of the cortical cells as compared to the root hair. So, in such cases, the water will transport from root hair to the cortical cell. And in this way, from one cell to another cell, here it will be completely transported to each and every cell of the cortex. So, when cortical region will absorb the water, automatically the osmotic pressure of the cortex will be lesser as compared to the osmotic pressure of the endodermis and the pericycle. And as we have seen earlier, the endodermis possesses the thickenings on its radial and the tangential wall, and this type of the cell are known as the Casparian strips. So, because of the presence of the Casparian strips on the radial and tangential wall of the endodermis, it do not allow the water to pass through it. But some of the cells which are present opposite to the xylem are known as the passage cell. It means it do not have such a type of the Casparian strips, and because of this, here the water can move from the cortical region to the xylem through only the passage cells. Here these Casparian strips are made up of suberin, and recently it is invented that the Casparian strips are not made up of the suberin, but it is made up of the lignin. So, we should remember this also. So, when the water transported from the cortical region to the xylem through the passage cell, now it is ready for the translocation of this water in the upward direction. So, in this way, because of only the osmotic pressure, the water is absorbed from the soil, and then as per the osmotic gradient, it is transported from the root hair to the cortical region, and from cortical region to the endodermis, pericycle and the xylem. So, this is completely that the all root hair cells are playing an active role in the absorption of the water, and again even it is carried out along the osmotic gradient, and hence it is known as the active osmotic absorption of the water. When water reaches the xylem, then from the xylem it is upward translocated, and this upward translocation of the water is known as the ascent of sap, that we will see in the upcoming next lecture. But in a certain time, even there is a possibility to have the soil having the higher osmotic pressure as compared to the root, and we know that the osmosis is nothing but the process of the transport of the solvent molecules from the region of lower concentration to the region of higher concentration through the semi-permeable membrane. So, if there will be a lower osmotic pressure of the root hair or the root cells, in such a cases even the water is absorbed from the soil, and as already we have seen that it is the against concentration gradient, and hence it is known as the non-osmotic absorption. But the roots are playing active role, and hence it is known as the active osmotic absorption of the water. So how this is carried out? Say for example, if the xerophytic plants which are growing already in the scarcity of the water, in such cases there is already a higher osmotic pressure in the soil water as compared to the osmotic pressure of the cell sap. Or even in case of the many marshy places, the soil concentration is higher as compared to the cell sap. It means that the osmotic pressure of the soil is always higher in such type of the places. Then also the water is absorbed from the soil by the roots. So what factors are there through that we can easily understand, even then there is a absorption of the water against the osmotic gradient. So first one, that the factors which inhibit the respiration also decrease water absorption. If you see the process of the respiration, that is nothing but a process in which the complex organic compounds are broken down into the simple inorganic compound with release of the energy. It means that the respiration is the process of the formation of the energy in the form of the ATP. So if there are the certain factors which inhibit the respiration, that is the process of the formation of the ATP molecule, and that is also responsible to decrease the water absorption. It means that there is utilization of the energy in absorption of the water, that is active absorption, and against the concentration gradient, that is the non-osmotic absorption. Again, if the poisons which retard the metabolic activities of the root cells also retard the water absorption. It means that if there will be the absence of the metabolic activity or the decrease in the rate of the metabolic activity in the root, that is again responsible to decrease the rate of the absorption of the water. It means that even this absorption of the water is completely dependent upon the different metabolic activities. So hence we can say that the root cells are playing an active role in absorption of the water, though that may be along the osmotic gradient or against the osmotic gradient. Then next one, that is the auxin. The auxin is a growth hormone which is responsible to increase the metabolic activities of the cells. So if the auxin is treated, then it is responsible to stimulate the absorption of the water. It means that when the auxin is used, or then the rate of the metabolic activities increases, and if the rate of the metabolic activities increases, again the rate of the absorption of the water is also increases. This means that here there is a expenditure of the certain energy in active non-osmotic absorption of the water. So in this way, though there is a higher concentration of the soil water and lower concentration of the cell sap or the root, then also water is absorbed, and such type of the absorption of the water is known as the active non-osmotic absorption of the water. Now the second type, that is the passive absorption of water. Earlier we have seen that the passive absorption of water means there is no any active role of the root cells in absorption of the water, and hence it is known as the passive absorption of the water. So here we can understand, if there is a process of transpiration, and we know the process of transpiration, we'll see in the detail in the upcoming classes. Transpiration is the process of the elimination or the release of the water in the form of the water vapors through the stomata. It means that here the water is eliminated from the leaves in the form of water vapors in the transpiration. So in such a cases, what's happened here, when the water is eliminated in a transpiration, at that time there is a creation of tension in the stomatal cavity and also the leaf, and this leaf is in association with that of the stem, and the stem is in association to that of the root. So this tension which is created in the leaves because of the transpiration, that tension transported to the stem and finally to the root, and because of this as there is a continuous water column from the leaves to the roots. Here the water which is present in the soil that enter inside the roots because of the tension which is created in the plant body. So in such a cases, here the root are not playing any active role in the absorption of the water, because basically the tension which is created by the transpiration is responsible for the entry of the water from the soil to the root because of the tension, and hence here there is no active role of the root cells in such a type of the absorption of the water, and hence it is known as the passive absorption of the water. When we are talking about the absorption of the water, this absorption of the water is carried out by a different methods, that is known as the apoplastic pathway, symplastic pathway, or even the transmembrane pathway. So when we are considering that the apoplastic pathway, here means the water enter or absorbed through the cell wall as well as through the lumen of the root hairs. And when we are considering that the symplastic pathway, it means that it is transported through plasmodesmata, and when it is transported through or it cross the plasma membrane, then it is known as the transmembrane pathway. So whatever the methods which are used in the absorption of the water, here we can say that here the water is absorbed even if it is along the concentration gradient or against the concentration gradient, that is the maybe through a simple process of the osmosis or even against the osmotic gradient. And here we will see the different factors affecting the absorption of the water, because every living organism is interacting with the different environmental conditions. So first one, that is the availability of the soil water. So if the roots are present in a soil, at that time there is need to have the sufficient amount of the water in the soil, so that the plant can absorb the water from the soil. But if there is an increase in the amount of water in the soil, then here the rate of the absorption of the water will be decreased, because this is responsible to decrease the oxygen content of the root, and hence the waterlogged conditions of the soil are responsible to reduce the rate of the absorption of the water. Then second one, that is the concentration of the soil solution. If you see the soil solution, it means that the osmotic pressure, it should be always lower than the cell sap of the root hairs as well as the roots, so that the water can be easily absorbed. So in such a condition, the absorption of the water or rate of the absorption of the water will be higher. But if this osmotic pressure of the soil solution is high, that is the concentration is higher as compared to the concentration of the cell sap of the roots or the root hair. So in such a cases, here there will be the reduction in the rate of the absorption of the water. Then third one, that is the soil air. We know very well there is need of the aeration of the many annual plants that we are planting. So this soil air is responsible to provide the oxygen to the roots, and this oxygen is used for the process of the respiration. As we have seen, if the rate of the respiration increases, the rate of the absorption of the water is also increases. This means that if the amount of oxygen in the soil decreases, automatically there will be the decrease in the rate of the absorption of the water. It means that if the soil air is less, then the rate of the absorption of the water will also be less or the decreasing. And hence, if we see the waterlogged condition in which the soil air is in a very less quantity, in which the absorption of the water is also less or decreases. Such a type of the soil in which either the osmotic pressure is very high in case of like the saline water, or in case of the marshy places where there is a waterlogged condition. So, in both cases, though there is a presence of the water in the soil, but then also it is not absorbed by the plant. And such a type of the soils having the higher concentration or the higher osmotic pressure, or the water which is present in a very high amount, that is known as the physiologically dry soil. So, you should also remember this one. Then the last one factor, that is the temperature, that is the soil temperature, which is also adversely affect on the absorption of the water. If it is 0 to 1 degree Celsius, then there is a reduction in the rate of the absorption of the water. So, it is better at the 15 to 25 or 30 degree Celsius temperature. But beyond it, when the temperature increases, again the rate of the absorption of the water decreases. It means that the temperature becomes one of the limiting factor for the absorption of the water. And its reason is that here the different enzymes which are involved in the different metabolic activities, they are non-functional, or they reduce their activity in the lower temperature as well as the higher temperature. And hence, the moderate temperature always favor for the absorption of the water, while lower temperature and higher temperature always is responsible to decrease the rate of the absorption of the water. So friends, thank you very much for watching the lecture completely. If you like this lecture and if it is beneficial to you, then kindly like, share and subscribe our YouTube channel Botany for You. And also press bell icon for the alerts of every lecture to be uploaded on different life sciences titles. And don't forget to join our Telegram group with the link given in the description. Thanks a lot once again.